As we approach the new year, let's talk about some New Year's resolutions for the Indiana Hoosiers.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first ticket purchase. It is the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you making Locked On Hoosiers your first listen each and every day. We're, of course, a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. Thank you so much to the everydayers who are here, of course, every day. You're the reason that, look, this podcast is growing. It's doing some really, really good numbers right now, and you are the reason for that. So thank you so much for being here, for being a part of it. Look, we're having so much fun right now with this show, and we've had some fun shows over the last couple of weeks with the Christmas, and now we've got New Year's resolutions. We had Andy from Locked On College Basketball, and of course, previewing and reacting to all of Indiana men's basketball games. So I appreciate you for being here, and thank you so much. Be sure, if you're on YouTube, make sure you're liking the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. We continue to grow each and every day. We're getting closer to 2,000 subscribers. That would mean the world to me if we could get there. So I want you to be a part of it as well. So again, if you're on YouTube, be sure that you do that. If you're on any of your podcasting platforms, Apple, Spotify, Google, I don't care. Whichever one it is, we're there, and we're free and available wherever that may be. So thank you so much for listening on the audio version of Locked On Hoosiers as well. New Year's resolutions. With New Year's Eve coming up, the turn of the year, we're almost to 2024. Isn't that wild? Ugh. Yeah, man, that means we're all getting old. That's what that means. We're all getting older in 2024. It's wild how quick 2023 went. And let me say this, man, 2023 for me was a wild year. I mean, there's just so much to talk about, a lot of on the personal side of things. But one of the things I'm most thankful for is this podcast, is this show. I took over here in late 2023, back in mid-October. Isn't it crazy that we're 2.5 months into this thing already? Isn't that wild? So very thankful to Locked On and to everybody at the Locked On Podcast Network, with Zach as our Zach Blackerby, host of Locked On Auburn, who is our college manager. So thank you to him, and just everybody that's been a part of the show so far, and everybody that gave me this opportunity, because that is something that highlights my 2023. And so I'm just so thankful to you and to everybody that's listened or watched or whatever, supported. Just thank you very, very much. So that's a part of my wild 2023. I've got some personal New Year's resolutions, like we always like to do. And maybe it is to go to the gym a little bit more. That seems to be the most common one. But let's talk about some for Indiana in particular. And I've got two for Indiana basketball, and then I've got one near the end of the show that's going to be just about college athletics and how I think it's kind of nasty and broken right now. So that'll be later on in the episode. But the first one that I want to go over, some New Year's resolutions. And before we get into this New Year's resolutions, you got to think and remind yourself, hey, what is a resolution, right? When you make these resolutions for a new year, it's things that you want to change. It's things that you want to do differently, ultimately to make yourself better and to make your life better, to make things around you better, to make those around you better, right? That's what a resolution is. It's to make a change to ultimately become better and achieve a goal. And I think there's some that can really benefit this Indiana men's basketball team and head coach Mike Woodson. And the first one for me, the first thing I want to see change, improve, get better going into 2024 as we get ready for Big Ten play, I want to see the execution of the offense be better for this team. There is no doubt about it. What is the one thing that Indiana wants to do each and every game offensively? they want to get the basket. They want to get the ball to the basket and get it from the paint, right? They want to give the ball to anybody inside that painted rectangle down there under the basket and try to get up and score that way. There's no secrecy there. They know that. We know that. Every team that plays Indiana knows that. But as of late, it just hasn't been working all that well. And I think there's a couple of reasons for that. Teams know that's what Indiana wants to do. And they know that Kel'el Ware is the best player on the floor. They know that. And teams are doing a very, very good job of pressuring Kel'el Ware on when we are on the offensive end. They're doubling him a lot of times when he gets the basketball, which is something that he did not see very early on. And they're forcing the basketball out of his hands, right? We've seen him go off for 25, 28 points. We've also seen him go scoreless in a half. And it's very inconsistent, but I don't think it's his fault. I think it's defenses recognizing, hey, let's make somebody else beat us and see if it happens. And heck, Trey Galloway almost did it against Kansas. But it's also on the coaches as well for Indiana, because I just feel like they go away from their game plan sometimes. And I don't mind splitting time and possessions with Kel'el Ware and Malik Reneau, because you can't just rely on one guy and hope that he can carry you to a championship. But it just seems like there are times where Kel'el Ware's doing well. Indiana's forcing the ball inside, and not even forcing it, just getting it inside, whether it be from Gabe Cupps, Trey Galloway, Xavier Johnson when he was still playing and healthy, or anybody else that has the ball in their hands. They go from getting it inside and getting to the basket and getting fouled and getting to the free throw line. Then they just start chucking up a bunch of threes and they start taking bad shots, and that's on the players. But the game plan starts to change. The formations are changing for this Indiana offense, and I just don't get it. And it throws the whole system off. It throws all the rhythm off. Any momentum this team ever gets, it just kills it. And they seem to have a hard time recovering from that. So one of the New Year's resolutions that I want to see for this Indiana team, man, let's execute at a higher level. Let's get better looking shots. Let's quit taking threes that we just can't make. Mid-range jumpers from Gabe Cupps. I love the kid, but that's just not effective offense. Do the thing that you're good at. Kel'el Ware, Malik Reneau, Mackenzie Mbako, get in the paint and stay there. Go in and out so you don't get called for 3 seconds, but you know what I'm saying here. Get those guys the basketball and work inside out. That is where Indiana's bread and butter is. That is where they should live. I don't care if the other team defends it. You've got 3 guys that can play down there. And the good thing about Mackenzie Mbako as of late is he is able to step out and shoot that 3 and it be pretty consistent for the most part. And I think he's good shooting threes. I think most people like him shooting the 3 ball. So that's what I want to see, is the execution of the offense be better. Hitting shooters in rhythm. Instead of taking tough contested shots, let's move the basketball around. More assists, right? Getting open looks, getting drives to the basket, getting fouled, and making some shots, man. If this team can do that, they're extremely dangerous. We've seen that. But these 4 and 5 minute stretches of no scoring, no offense, that can't happen for Indiana if they want to be successful in the back half of this season in 2024. And so that is my first New Year's resolution for Indiana. Well, coming up on Locked On Hoosiers, I'll give you the second New Year's resolution, and it feeds right into the production and the execution of the offense. I want some production from some role players and some bench players other than the guys that we just named. We'll talk about that coming up in just a second on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Game Time. When you're buying tickets, you shouldn't have to worry about getting the best price. You shouldn't have to worry about if the tickets are legit, if you're going to have a good seat. You should have the confidence in all of those things, and you can have that when you use the Game Time app. The Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you, with killer last-minute deals, all-in pricing, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. Game Time is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. You can see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Welcome back into Locked On Hoosiers. I appreciate you making this your first listen each and every day. Shout out to the everydayers. I appreciate you for being here each and every single day. Be sure you follow the show on Twitter, X. You can follow it at Locked On Hoosiers, LO_Hoosiers. We tweet out or post, I guess. We post out some graphics, and we always commenting during the games and taking comments from you as well. So be sure that you follow us on there. My second New Year's resolution for Indiana basketball is more production from role players and really more production from the bench. And what I mean by those guys is when you look at, right, just pull up the roster, right? Pull up the scoring leaders and cut out the top 5. Cut out your starters. I don't want to talk about the starters right now. All right. We talk a lot about Kel'el Ware, Malik, Reneau, Trey, Galloway, Mackenzie Mbako, and Xavier Johnson when he's here. I want to talk about the rest of this Indiana team. I'm looking at Anthony Walker, who has come on as of late. I'm looking at CJ Gunn. I'm looking at Caleb Banks. I am looking at Gabe Cupps because eventually, we're thinking here very soon, he will then be coming off the bench again. Peyton Sparks and Anthony Leal. Some of those guys obviously play a lot more than others. I'm looking for them to really grow in conference play. And we've talked about this, but there's ways to get them to grow and ways to get them involved. And it starts with some confidence, man. Confidence is key. Look at Anthony Walker, for example. Anthony Walker has started playing near 15 minutes a game and is really, really good. I've talked about him all season. He's averaging 7 points a game, give or take. He's grabbing multiple rebounds a game. His shooting is extremely well. I know he doesn't shoot it a ton, but he shoots 56%. He shoots around 77%. His three-pointers, not so much. I mean, he's only made, the one or something like that on the year, but the guy's effective, and he's physical. And here's what I love about him. When he comes in the game, you know that Anthony Walker's in the game. You know because he makes a play almost instantly, whether it be offensively or defensively. He's on the floor. He's after loose balls. He's making the right cuts. He's making the right pass. He sets the right screen. He just plays the game the right way. And I love him, man. I love this kid. I love watching him play, and I wish there were more minutes for him. And the problem is I don't know where you would go, right? I mean, there's not really anybody that you can take out of the starting 5 that you'd want to, but I think that means that Indiana and Mike Woodson can use him as almost your lethal weapon that not many people know about, right? And especially if he is only playing that 15 to 17 minutes a game, man, bring him in when you're in a battle and you bring him off the bench, bam, let him punch somebody in the mouth with his baskets. Let him come out and just be the fire under this Indiana team when you need one against Purdue or whoever, right? So I'd love to see him get more involved because he's physical and he just plays the game the right way. And I love that when you see that from guys like Anthony Walker. Other guys in this kind of, we just don't know yet, right? I'm looking at CJ Gunn, Caleb Banks, and Peyton Sparks. I put those same guys, or I should say, I put those guys in the same category because we just don't know what we're getting, right? We just don't know where we stand with CJ Gunn, Caleb Banks, and Peyton Sparks. Here's what's interesting is a lot of times Caleb Banks is the first one. He's the first sub off the bench, especially right now with Xavier Johnson being out, right? He seems to be the first one off the bench. And he is a physical presence. And what I mean by that is you can just see it, right? He's just kind of built. And you don't see him with the basketball in his hands very often. And when he does, he passes it off almost immediately. I mean, he's averaging just under 3 points a game, grabs a few boards, which is nice. And obviously his shooting numbers are not all that great, but he's in the game for a couple of reasons. He's in the game to get guys some rest. He's there to crash the boards, especially on the offensive glass, because he is a little bit taller and more physical. But man, let him play. Let's see what happens, right? I think if he can get involved, look, this is all about having more threats on the floor. That's what this whole conversation, this New Year's resolutions conversation is about. It's about having more guys that the defense has to worry about, because we can count them up. The defense right now is worried about 4 guys. Yeah, 4. They're playing against 4 people that they feel can actually score the basketball against them right now. Everybody else is just kind of there eating up minutes. So if you can get these guys on the floor and get them some confidence, teams have to defend that. They have to worry about it. When they see Peyton Sparks walk in the game, they're like, oh crap, we have to defend this guy because we better box him out because he's a physical presence. He's going to go and crash the board and give them 2nd, 3rd, and 4th opportunities. But Indiana's not getting that from them yet. Will it come? Maybe. Remember, we talked about Mackenzie and Baco, and we were pretty hard on him on this show. And then all of a sudden, he kind of got going. Now, some of these are freshmen, some of these are transfers, right? So, and here's what gets me too. This is what gets me fired up, is I can see the potential in these guys. I can see it's there. The skills are there. The potential is there. And if they hit that point, Indiana can take that next step, man. They can do it. I truly believe that. I truly believe that. And then you look at a guy like CJ Gunn, who he's just struggled this year. His shooting percentage is not good. He's not playing a whole lot of minutes. And you would think he would with Indiana's guard being out, their point guard being out. He's just not getting in the game. And when he does, it's just very ineffective. You can't run like that forever, man. You can't run like that forever. And that gets me back to Gabe Cupps, who has played just remarkable as a fill-in point guard for Mike Woodson in Indiana. We've talked about his offensive struggles. They're there. Offensive limitations. They're there. Can that improve? Sure. I just don't know. I don't know where it's going to come from. Maybe it's a confidence thing for him, or maybe it's just working on it in the gym, right? Maybe it's working on it on your days off or in the off season or whatever it may be. But again, the defenses aren't worried about him. They're letting him shoot 18-foot jumpers because he's clanking them. He had a wonderful and one the other night, right? A few games ago. But we don't see that enough. Be aggressive. Here's another thing. I feel like there are very few people on this team that want the basketball in their hands. Am I crazy in saying that? Am I crazy in saying I just don't think many people want the basketball in their hands? Kel'el Ware does. Malik Reneau does. Mackenzie Mbako's starting to get that way. And Trey Galloway, it just comes and goes. One night he won't pass it and he scores 30 points. And the other night he doesn't do anything and he scores 4. But nobody else wants the basketball in their hands. That has to change. Scratch what I've been saying. That's our resolution. Let's put the basketball in their hands and make them want it. Because when you start having that, then confidence comes in. Then your offense starts working. It's like, hey, I want to get open because I want the ball. I want to score, rather than, oh, he passed me the ball. Got to get rid of it. Got to get rid of it, right? Oh, where can I go? Where can I go? No, we don't want that. I want you to cut, set that screen, back cut to the basket, and get it in your hands and lay it in, rather than I have this on the perimeter. I don't know what to do with it. Please, somebody help me. I feel like that's what's happening here too often. And that's not winning basketball. That's scared basketball, and scared basketball loses because dominant teams will see that. They'll pounce. They smell blood in the water, and they'll rip you to shreds. That's what has to change. If Indiana can find that, as the kids say, that dog in them, right? Get a little oomph going and some confidence and get some eagerness, right? And some meanness to you, and act like you want to be there. Act like you are the stuff. Remember what's across your chest. Remember who you're playing for and where you're at and the colors that you wear. Those are the things that have to change going into 2024 with this team in particular. And if those things do, better watch out. Watch out for this Indiana team. I'm telling you, good things can happen with just a little bit of confidence. Well, coming up here on the show, we'll finish out my New Year's resolutions. This one is more college athletics, and it won't be as long of a segment, but just the way I feel about where college athletics are going right now, man, things have got to change. And that's what resolutions are all about, is change. We'll talk about that coming up in just a second on Locked On Hoosiers. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. As the weather gets colder, the NFL offers stay hot on FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and much more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Welcome back into Locked On Hoosiers. I appreciate you making this your first listen each and every day. Be sure you check out the Locked On Sports Today YouTube channel as well. We've been plugging it quite a bit because it's a really, really cool thing that Locked On has done. So be sure you go and check out Locked On Sports Today on YouTube. Drop them a subscription and also subscribe to us as well while you're at it. You may as well just do it, right? You're already on your phone, on your computer. You may as well just do it. We appreciate you doing that. My final New Year's resolution, and this is not really Indiana related. This is not college basketball specific. This is not one sport specific. This is college athletics specific, okay? I cover a lot of college sports. I do it every day, right? I do it for multiple platforms all the time. And college sports are my favorite. I've watched them my whole life. They've always been my favorite. Basketball, football, doesn't matter. Baseball, soccer, you name it. College sports, they're just better, right? They're just better than the pros. It's more entertaining. There's more passion. There's more love. And it's always been that way. But it's slipping. That's going away. And there's multiple reasons for that. And I'm not here to get into a debate about whether kids should be paid for NIL or whether college kids should make money and all that type of stuff. We're not here to do that. But those things have impacted this. NIL has been a huge game changer in college athletics. The transfer portal has been a huge game changer in college athletics. And the fact that it's borderline free agency, the fact that hundreds of thousands of dollars are being used to recruit students, high school kids, to play at other college programs, right? You can use it as a recruiting tool, which is not what it was supposed to be, but that's what it is. It's just the integrity of college athletics has gone away. And let me back that up by saying, has college athletics always been the cleanest? Absolutely not. Especially those of us who have watched and learned and loved and grown up on college basketball. Come on. We know what happens on the back end of college basketball. It's been one of the dirtiest sports for a long, long time. And it's my favorite. I love it. I'm just saying the facts are facts. But now that you have openly discussions about, well, I'm making $150,000 here. Well, this school offered me to play for $300,000. And well, I went here for a year, but I didn't really like it. And this school is actually going to offer me more money. So I'm going to hit this thing called the transfer portal, where thousands and thousands and thousands of college players enter it every day during the windows. That's not what college sports is about. And the problem, too, is we have forgotten what these kids are. They're student athletes. Does anybody care about the education anymore? Doesn't seem like it, because that's not their concern. Never has been, never will be. And my resolution for college athletics is, let's find some integrity here. Let's find some middle ground to where student athletes can benefit from their name, image, and likeness, where they can make a little money, because I do think they should. But let's take this and not make it the NFL or the NBA when it comes to recruiting high school kids, because here's where we're headed. We're headed to sign contracts for kids. The next 5-star that Indiana tries to sign, yeah, he's going to sign a contract, not a letter of intent, an actual contract that says you have to be here for X amount of years. We're going to pay you this amount of money. You got to do these certain things. It's coming. Just be ready for it. It's coming. And I just want it to be controlled. I just want it to be fair, I guess, is the best way to put it. It's not always going to be fair. There's always going to be people that make more money than somebody else. That's just life. That's reality. But it's got to be controlled. And can we all agree that the NCAA can't do crap about it? The NCAA is worthless, right? I've said this so many times. They have nothing going for them anymore. And so my wish, my resolution is, let's get this under control. Let's find some key common ground. Let's make sure everybody benefits from this, but let's not let it get out of control, or it already is. How about we try to reel it in a little bit? Because the college athletics, the college football that I grew up loving is gone. The college basketball that we grew up loving is on its way out. And sooner rather than later, that's just college athletics. And it's all going to be about the money. That's all it's ever been about, but now it's even worse. And I hate it, man, because that's the one thing that separated college athletics from the pros, was the money. That was it. It was that one singular thing, besides the skill, of course. But the money is what separated it. And man, it's gone. It's gone. And I don't know how you change it. I don't think you do. They're never going to go back. And what does this mean for Indiana? I mean, football, you're going to have to find some NIL money, which they have. They've gotten better. We're going to have to find more, a lot more, to compete in college football, in the Big Ten, in this ever-changing college or sport of college football. And then on the basketball side of things, man, the money's going to be stupid because you don't need as many players. So each player is worth more money. So Indiana's got to find a way to support them through NIL, and it goes to the highest bidder. If you like that, cool. That's where we're heading. But I'm just not a fan of it. So I'd love to see that change. I'd love to see people step up and make the right decisions. But so far, I just don't think that's going to happen. It hasn't happened. And I'm not super confident that it will. That's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers. I appreciate you. I appreciate you being here every day, and I appreciate you listening. Even when I go on my little rants sometimes, you got to have some of those, right? You got to have a little fun, have a different conversation every now and then. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for supporting me through this last couple of months as I took over. We're looking towards a new era in 2024, a brand new year. Same show, same host, but man, we're going to have a lot of fun in 2024. I'm looking forward to that. So thank you so much for being here. Excited for that. Stay tuned here through the new year. And then coming back, we've got Big Ten basketball, man. Looking forward to that. Be sure you subscribe to the channel. Like the video on YouTube. If you're on your podcasting platforms, I appreciate you so much as well. And you can subscribe on there, turn on notifications, do all that good stuff, and help us grow, and grow. And so until next time, Hoosier fans, stay safe. And I will talk to you later.